I used to be quite a shy person. One of the reasons was that I had no clue about how to have a good conversation. And being aware of that led me to start talking with strangers.
And thanks to hitchhiking, I had more than 1,000 conversations with perfect strangers. So, I'm still not a master, but if you're scared of awkward silences or not knowing what to say, I kind of faced it for you. So today, let me share with you everything I learned about communication while traveling.
Adventure had been calling me for a long time, but I've always preferred to hide behind books and movies. Until the day I left the comfort of my daydreaming and discovered a world of limitless possibilities right at my fingertips. Everything around me turned into an open playground. Every stranger I met was a fresh new story waiting to be discovered, and my life quickly became one of my favorite movies. After hitchhiking over 100,000 kilometers, I'm now here to share my best tips and insights, because today it's your turn for an adventure.
A good communication is very important if you want to have good adventures, but also a good life. This is why in today's video we'll first talk about logistics, so this part will be specific about hitchhiking, but then we will talk about mindset and conversation. And these parts will be extremely useful for your everyday life.
Let's talk about logistics first. You should quickly be clear about where you both go and about where you're going to be dropped off. Be sure to get in a car that goes in the right direction before getting in. While doing passive hitchhiking, you might have some external pressure, like people honking at you, but if there is no danger, take the time you need to communicate safely with your driver and let the other guys honk if it makes them happy. But of course, you will avoid this problem by doing active hitchhiking at a petrol station.
Once you know where you are going, you can get inside. And keep in mind that you are still responsible of where you will be dropped off, because many of your drivers will think about it too, but they must be focused on the road in front of them, not always on you. So keep an eye on the road, and when you get closer to your destination, remind it to your driver. Now that you're in, let's see how you can make conversation. Hitchhiking is a great school for that, and with the right mindset, it will be amazing. To me, empathy, curiosity, and generosity will be the most important concepts. So, oh yeah, empathy. You need to be aware of your driver's needs. And I would say that you have three major situations. First, your driver just wants to help you and therefore doesn't really want to talk with you. In this case, respect his silence, no need to force the conversation. You can simply take time to look at the landscapes or meditate. But you also have the second kind of driver, the talkative one, who wants to tell you his whole life, and in this case, be focused on listening and asking questions. And last but not least situation, you have sometimes drivers who ask you a ton of questions because they are curious about your life,
Or maybe they just want to be sure that you're not a serial killer.
Curiosity and generosity are therefore a way to show your gratitude to your driver. So I would really suggest you to be genuinely interested in this person and to share your story with a lot of enthusiasm, and this way your experience will be amazing. But still now, you are scared about not knowing what to say. Well, let me remind you that you already had a lot of conversations in your life, and it's way easier than what you would think. I mean, first let's see the subjects that easily come up when you enter a car.
Of course, practice of hitchhiking comes very often. You talk about why they picked you up, did they ever hitchhike in their life, and they will probably ask you about why you hitchhike and what do your parents think about it.
And you can also just ask about practical stuff. What is the purpose of their trip? Is it for family, for work, for traveling? And they will return you the question, what is your project? So just with this, you can dig into some subjects that are, well, professional life, family, traveling, etc. And just by observing, you can find some subjects. Once, we were in a car with a friend and we didn't really get to start the conversation with our driver after passing all the basic subjects until I noticed his Star Wars keychain. I pointed it and we talked passionately about how bad the last Star Wars movie were for 1 hour. Observing some details might change everything. It can be a picture, a tattoo and its meaning. anything. Listening is obvious. You can of course react to the music or the news on the radio, but keep in mind that what your driver is saying is a mine of information. If he has a lot of stuff to share with you, just be quiet and listen. But you can also follow your curiosity and react on something he said before. For example, if he said,
I must drive my daughter to her swimming lesson before dinner.
you can talk about his daughter. How old is she? Do they get along together? What are her hobbies? Swimming. Did she win a gold medal at the Olympics? No, she didn't. She's lame. Oh, do you swim too? What are your hobbies? Dinner. You can also talk about dinner. What are you going to eat tonight? Do you like to cook? Do you like to eat? Do you like to have a special diet? Are you vegan or meat eater?
Wait, did you talk about vegan versus meat eater?
If you ever end up in a discussion or a debate where you have opposite ideas, my suggestion would be that you adopt the same attitude you have when you watch a movie about a bad guy or a villain. This kind of movie where you really empathize with the character and you understand where he or she comes from, and then you really understand the person. You do not approve the character necessarily, but you understand it. And same with your driver. I mean, if you want to make this person maybe change, you will never succeed if you say, "You're so wrong and I am so right. My ideas are better than yours." Did this ever work for you? Well, tell me in the comment section if it did. So this will be my first advice. And there is another strategy that I like to call finding agreement in the disagreement. I mean, I once met this guy who literally told me that he didn't give a shit about ecology. I do care a bit about this subject. And he explained me his view, and I did talk a bit about what I thought. And in the end, we both agreed to say that organic tomatoes were tastier than the one we find in the supermarkets. So I didn't turn this guy into an ecologist or anything, and it was not my purpose. But maybe this way I did lead him to care a bit more about the environment, because actually I didn't change anything in his mind. I just underlined something he was already thinking. Another point is assertivity, which is simply expressing your honest opinions and needs. It happens to have people who will explain you stuff you already know, or who will tell you stuff you don't really want to hear about. It also happens to meet people who are very invested in subjects like religion or politics, and they will talk without letting you say a word. Well, I never really felt offended or attacked in my personal beliefs. Maybe a bit bored sometimes or a bit upset. Well, I think that in these situations, it's okay to say if you are tired, or if you don't feel interested or comfortable about some subjects and simply want to change.
I'll do another video where I share the basics of nonviolent communication, which is very useful if you want to be assertive while staying respectful. But you'll see that most conversations are very nice and sometimes life-changing. While hitchhiking, you're spending a few minutes or hours with someone you will never see again. So you might find yourself sharing very personal issues, or hear complete strangers tell you stories they will only share with their closest friends.
Last but not least, stay a gentleman or gentlewoman and express your gratitude when you get out of the car.
Now, you've got plenty of ideas to create great conversations. So be sure to like this video and to subscribe, because we will talk a lot about communication on this channel. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you on the road!